Hello guys, welcome to the next Banter Blitz of mine. I'm really happy you're all here, waiting for the show to start. So we'll start really soon. As usual, at the very beginning, I'm going to play several games against guys I've never played before. And as usual, again, I want to know if you can hear and see me well. On my end, it says everything is okay from a technical point of view. So let me know in chat if it is the same on your end. So let's get to the list of challenges. Let's have a look what's going on there. Sound is good, says Chessman 1963. Picture good. Okay. Also, one thing, I wanted you to try the theater mode. If you watch this from Chess24, would be interesting to know if the picture and, well, mainly the picture is still fine in the theater mode. Maybe you are watching that in the theater mode, just let me know, okay? All right, so let's have a look. What do we have here? What do we have here? Chessman 1963, by the way. We have never played before on Chess24 at least. As far as I understand, Paul had been following me on other resources many months ago when I was, streaming actively everywhere. So technically we have never played here, so I'm accepting this challenge and we start the game. e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, alright, bishop b5, Ruy Lopez. My favorite opening, because it's very complicated. It's very complicated. I'm playing this one for white and for black, and I really love the process. Okay, d3, d6, protecting e5. So there are different ways to react, of course. Let's just castle. I mean, castling cannot be bad. This kind of move is something you make without regret. Okay, h6 also prevented me from putting my bishop on g5 or knight on g5. Was not really a threat, but anyway. Alright, let's play c3. I'm thinking of playing c4 as well, but normally you can consider something like c4 when a6 is already played, I guess. It's a bit more logical there. So that your bishop is no longer vulnerable on b5 to something like knight to d4 at some point. And since black played h6 and most likely will castle short, I want to try my bishop on this a2 g8 diagonal. Maybe I will somehow use the weakness of g6. So let's imagine my bishop is there already on a2 g8 diagonal. King is on g8. Sometimes I can jump with the knight to h4, create an annoying threat of knight to g6. Not immediately, obviously. Not right now. For now, let's focus on standard maneuvers. Rook e1, preparing knight d2, knight f1, knight g3. So let's keep on developing pieces. So one of the advantages of playing Ruy Lopez with the d3, not immediate d4, is that you can delay d4. You can play it at the moment you're completely prepared for that. And this usually means your pieces are developed. You control the center. You have e4 overprotected. It's very important when you play d4 because e4 becomes vulnerable and e-file may be opened. All right, b5. Sorry for this. I'm not in my best state of health. So you can expect, hearing a lot of coughing tonight. Bishop b3 or bishop c2. Also interesting question. Normally, bishop c2 is what you play here to avoid knight a5 with the tempo. But I don't think that knight on a5 is placed perfectly. That's why sometimes I play this bishop b3 just to provoke knight to a5. Alright, queen to c8. Is there a threat of bishop h3? Well, I don't think so. So let's just go to g3 with the knight. If bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, I can play knight h2 at very least. Prevent a knight to g4 jump. So it's not dangerous whatsoever, I believe. And since my knight is already on g3, I think I'm more or less ready to play d4 at the right moment. Okay, knight goes to d8. That is something strange. Too passive, I guess. Let's just play d4 immediately, attacking e5. I have a feeling that black is somehow forced now to get back with the knight. Oh, black is giving up a pawn on e5, and I will just take it with pleasure. That was probably a blunder. That's why knight e8 is not good, because e5 is under pressure immediately when white plays d4. Okay, let's just take. I don't see any trap here. So just taking the pawn. Bishop d7 is under pressure. And if bishop e7 goes away somewhere with the tempo attacking my knight, I can take it. I mean that bishop on d7. Now after bishop e6, what to do? I don't want to take on e6 because it helps black to develop his pieces. So maybe it's a good idea for me just to play bishop to e3. Almost completing my development, and if bishop takes on b3, I will improve my queen. Instead of improving black's queen or black's knight d8, for instance, after taking on e6. That's the point. Okay, queen to c7 now attacking my knight, trying to force me away. Should I go away or should I just play f4? Also a good option, I believe. Knight to d3 is also something interesting, trying to use c5 square, but then black may just play c5. No, let's just go away. I don't really see what my knight is doing there on e5 anyway. For now at least. It's not really supported there. It's not really active attacking anything. So probably it's a good idea just to go away for now. Moreover, at some point, I may consider something like e4, e5. So after bishop d6, I can play e5, I believe. c5, now preparing what? Probably c4 or something. There are many moves. I don't know why, but I'm tempted to try e5 now. Since d5 is no longer that perfectly controlled, knight cannot go there, and hence should go somewhere to a passive position, maybe to d7, maybe to h7. Also good for white, I believe. Alright, let's go to e4. That was the idea behind e5, to control d6 and then to bring the knight there. That's what I'm going to do. Just put my knight on d6. Bishop f8 was played, I didn't notice. As I said before, I'm in a bad shape. So no surprises. Okay, knight d6, tempo move. I want to believe it's a strong one as well. What about bishop c2 now? Preparing very annoying queen d3 move. And also b4. b4 is an interesting idea, just to win d4 square. Okay, so let's just play queen d3. I wanted to make this move anyway, creating sort of a checkmate in one move. That's pretty cool. It's always cool, right? And now I wanted to play b4, just to fight for d4 square. If cb4, cb4, well, or c4, doesn't matter, d4 is mine. Now after queen d2, I'm attacking h6 at the same time. And I'm gradually squeezing black, as you may notice. Less and less space at black's disposal. So more and more squares I control. Bishop takes h6. Okay, Philomato says, Andrey, don't accept my challenge, be back in 30 minutes. Okay. Thanks for information. Alright, queen takes h6. So extra pawn, one more. I mean, I won the one many moves ago. And one more is here. So pretty good position for white. Really, really winning one. So what was the moment when everything went wrong for black? I believe it was knight d8. Well, first of all, queen c8 was already a bit strange to me. But, well, this move is not terrible. In fact, black has the idea of playing bishop e6, for instance. Maybe the most accurate reaction for me was just to play d4 immediately here to prevent bishop e6, you know. After knight g3, I guess it was interesting to try bishop e6, in which case I would not take, of course. I would just play bishop c2, preparing d4. I guess knight to a5 was just normal. Bishop to c2, because white don't want to give up a bishop for the knight. It's just a crime. If you, a Spanish player, I mean, not from Spain, but the one who plays Ruy Lopez, Spanish game. So bishop goes to c2, saving the bishop, and then just c5, not c6. That was my mouse slip. By the way, it's a hint how to beat me tonight, additional one. There may be something wrong with my mouse at some point. So c7, c5, fighting for center, controlling d4 better, and if I play d4, black can consider taking on d4 or protecting e5 by this knight c6 move, just going back. So it's a typical maneuver, knight a5 followed by c5, and once the pawn is under attack, knight goes back to c6. Okay, I can play d5 here, grabbing the space at first glance, and it's good, probably, but in this case, position is closed, and it's not so simple for white to achieve anything, at least immediately. Okay. Yeah, thank you for the game, Chessman. Let's go further. Let's have a look at other challenges. So somebody I've never played before. So Philomato says to ignore it for now. In 30 minutes he'll be back. Maybe we will play then. Here is Materialist. Wow, want to play against Materialist. Moreover, we've never played before. Let's do it. Okay, e4. My bet shape can be also noticed by my rating. As you may notice, I am well below 30/100s. And last time I was well above, so lost a lot of, you know, rating points just because I play badly nowadays. Okay, knight goes to d7. What to do now? Let's play just knight to c3. Since I've played f3, I'm considering playing something aggressive. Just maybe castling alone and then, you know, attacking on the other side of the board. And most likely knight c3 is not the best move. c4, I believe, is the best one, just to control the center better. In which case we can get the position, which is pretty much like Zemish. Especially if black chooses g6, bishop g7 development, let's say. Sometimes there is a transposition, which leads to Zemish things. All right, let's go here. Continuing with the development. So d5 is protected. I'm fine with that. Should I play knight c1, knight b3 here, just, you know, attacking that queen? Maybe I'll still have, you know, a chance to castle the other side of the board. It's also a possibility. I like the idea of, you know, being flexible here. There may be also something really similar to Sicilian Najdorf pawn structure, especially if black captures on d5. I take, say, with the knight at some point, knight takes, pawn takes, It will be just like typical knight or pawn structure. I play this knight c1 only because that queen is there. Otherwise, I would have played simple castling, I believe. Alright, what to do now? Let's play a4, preventing b5. Because if black plays b5 now, I have knight b3 with the tempo, protecting my rook and attacking the queen, and then taking on b5, winning the pawn. And if black doesn't do anything, I'm thinking of playing knight b3 followed by a5, stopping black from playing b5 anyway. So castling was played. Alright, knight b3, queen goes to c7. Then if a5, black can play c4. If I play knight to b3, queen c7, bishop c4, then black has knight to b6. Okay. Okay, so let's just do what? Maybe bishop e2 first. Preparing castling short after all. Not very consistent, I understand. Not very logical. To play queen d2 and then castle short. But position is closed, so maybe I can afford it. There is no knight there anyway. Anymore. So let's play knight b3, bishop c4. Now it's fine, I guess. Stopping the pawn on c5. Blockading it. For now. Then trying to play something like a5 if black gives me a chance. No. Black decide not to give me that chance. So let's play queen e2 now. Controlling b5 additionally. And stopping the bishop from going to d7, let's say, because a6 is hanging. And here I wanted just to stop the knight from going to f4. What I missed here is bishop h3 with a tempo and then protecting a6 with a queen, for instance. But in that case, this bishop may be trapped, I guess. It's an option for me to try to trap it, at least. Something like knight d1, knight f2 maneuver comes to mind. Okay, h5. With the idea of what? Of playing h4 most likely. Let's stop this. I don't like it. So in general, my plan is just to make black suffer here. Because of the lack of space, I mean. So at some point, black will start, doing something strange. Because it's really hard to play. Well, at least I'm expecting that. So, for now, what's the threat? f5? No, it's not a threat. So, I can play king g2, king h2 if I want. But what I really wanted to try was actually to play knight to d2. Alright, let's take it. I can take on a6 if I want. And yes, I do want to take that pawn. If bishop takes c2, I guess I just play knight to e4. And that bishop is somewhat trapped. Unless it takes on e4, but in that case I will have an amazing control over light squares all over the board. Will be very good. For now I'm just a pawn up, and I'm controlling everything in the center, so I like my position. Looks very good. Okay, now it's time to occupy this e4 square, typical result of playing f5 and then recapturing with the piece, not with the pawn. Compared to King's Indian defense, let's say, when black plays g6, f5. And usually when you take on f5, black recaptures with the pawn controlling e4. Here it's not the case, so I have this amazing square for my knight in the center. Now it's a question where to put my rook. Let's put it on f2, why not? Also having rook h2, let's say if knight h4, gh4, bishop h4, I can play rook h2 and I think I win some material as well. That goes to f6. Here I wanted to try this knight g5 move. Attacking the bishop and intending to use e6 square very soon. Okay, black decided to give up the bishop. Didn't notice, probably because of the time trouble. Alright, white's position was anyway strategically winning already. So, what was wrong? I don't think that queen a5 was a good idea. Well, queen a5 was absolutely playable, but in general, I guess black could have played something much better than queen a5. Something immediately connected with attacking d5. So let's say here, I would have considered something like maybe cd5, ed5, and probably knight to b6. Now, I'm not sure how good this knight b6, but it looks very logical then, quickly developing the bishop somewhere on f5, rook c8, and then playing along the c file. So I can imagine, excuse me, something like a4 here, trying to play a5, immediately trying to, you know, prove that knight b6 was sort of premature. But first of all, black can react with queen c7, which is not that clear because of knight b5. Second, as I said before, bishop f5 looks interesting. If I play a5, say just, you know, this move back to d7. Of course, here I can go really aggressive, like g4, h4, but first of all, after g4, I have to be sure that knight g4 doesn't work, because it may work. Second of all, okay, g4, h4, then you just play h5 and you're fine. So I think this is a possibility. Okay, even after queen a5, I still think that the best strategy would be to try cd5, not c5, because after c5, you no longer have this pressure on my d5, which means I just have advantage in space without problems, without regrets of playing this d5, you know. Yeah, cd5 at some point, maybe not immediately, somewhere here, let's say, cd5 was quite okay. Then castling, trying to play this in the style of Najdorf. Maybe after a6, knight to c1. Yeah, here, exactly. Just cd5. Why not? If ed5, your queen can always go to c7 now. Be not afraid of knight b5 jump. And you probably haven't improved Najdorf situation, because normally we have this pawn structure after knight to d5 jump in Sicilian, exchange on d5, then what has this plan of c4, c5. Here, as we may notice, knight is still on c3, so I don't have this plan of c4 and c5. Black still can play on the queen side, just like in Najdorf. I guess this is good position for black. Okay. All right, let's go further. So one more, I guess, I've never played before. Never ever. I mean, not even a single game. Here is the guy, Ferris Bueller. Accept. And then just get back to normal order of challenges. What's going on? What's going on to the board? What's this? What's this? Can you see this? Oh my goodness, maybe I should reload the page. Let's try it. Yeah, now it looks better. Okay, e4, e5. Knight f3, knight c6. Bishop goes to c4. Just checking if everything is still okay with the technical story. Looks fine. All right, knight to c3. Let's play a6. I know it's not a good move. I just wanted to try, you know, to wait a bit with the development of the knight. To f6. Okay, bishop there. So let's try bishop to g4. Can we play this? Yes. I think we can. Pin in the knight. The only problem with this maneuver is that after g4 my bishop will be just very bad on g6 for a long time. But my hope here is to use this weakening of the king side. Well, at least I will try my best to do something with that. So can I just play h5 right now? Let's try it. With the knight already on f6, something like that will lead to g5 with the tempo. Now it's a bit different because if white plays g5, my knight is not attacked, and I can consider playing h4 next. Separating h3 from g5, but white decided just to go away with the knight. This is a bit passive, I guess. But still alright. So what if I just take on it, g4? Opening the h file. Should be all, well, more than good for black. Now just knight f6 with the tempo. Attacking a queen. Trying to exchange this centralized knight. Knight f6, queen f6 looks good. Feels like I'm enjoying a better pawn structure now. But I'm losing the queen, right? Oh, that's fantastic. That was so stupid blunder. Oh my god. And this says something about my shape, right? Maybe... No, it's anyway very bad, you know, to blunder something like that. Maybe I'm not losing a queen here after bishop h5. It's just a miracle I have this resource. But amazing that I didn't even consider bishop g5 move. That's just, you know, something. All right. So bishop is heading, which means what? We have equal material here. Thanks God. Oh. And white is losing g4 now. All right. If I'm not blundering something else, in addition to bishop g5 move, I guess I can just win this pawn now. I don't see how to protect it. Oh. Amazing. I mean, it's so typical. There's bishop g5. But now black is okay. Again. Maybe more than okay. Feels like black is fighting for a win here. Alright, rook takes g4 is a move. But it feels like I'm not in a rush, so I can play king e7, preparing another rook to g or h file. We'll see where it's better. g4 drops anyway, that's what I mean. c3. Okay. Still don't see a big necessity in taking on g4, so let's play rook g8. Most likely rook h8 was stronger than this. b4. What should I do now? Rook g4, king f1. Okay, we can just go away, alright? Just bishop a7 first. So we are in attack now. We are attacking white with all our pieces, which is nice. So king f1 was forced. Everything looks great. Rook f4, rook h1, or rook h2, or anything. I don't know. What's better? Rook h2, rook d2, rook is still protected there. But I can play some like rook f4. I didn't see a big difference, to be honest. I'm somehow tempted to try this, in fact. Just to force the king there first. Then rook h2 now. If d4, I can take on e4 with the tempo. That was my idea. So just check. Didn't know where the king goes. If king d2, then rook f2 with the tempo. If king f3, then rook f4 check, and I take f2. So started grabbing all the pawns here, I guess. All right. How to take this way, I guess. King is almost checkmated here. Where's our checkmate? It's almost there, right? f5. King goes to d5, and well, I suppose this should be enough. Oh, knight takes b4 and c6. My goodness, I'm so stupid this time. I mean, that was just checkmate by force, right? Knight b4 and c6, no chances. After my king d7, obviously there was still a tiny chance just to go away with a bishop somewhere, and so forth. Oh my god, this just a very bad game. All right, it's really hard to comment it seriously after I made so many stupid blunders, but anyway, I will try. So after h5, I still believe g5 is the strongest move for white, just you know, to keep position closed, because this gives me a good chance to open it. Hg4, what happened? Queen captured on g4. Now I played knight f6. That was alright, but after knight takes f6, most likely there was a much better option just to take with the pawn. Yeah, it looks ugly, I understand, but first of all, there is no bishop g5 move after queen f6, the one I missed. And it makes sense because the king is here, right? And I open the g file, additional file to attack it. The next stage will be some like queen e7, I believe. Then maybe bishop h5 or something, just attacking the queen. And then trying to castle and use the g file. Another idea maybe like knight e7 and then f5. And this way to prepare castling and so forth. Maybe I could have played something else, not even knight to f6. Don't know. But it doesn't feel like this queen g4 is a good idea for white, because the king is really vulnerable after this. Okay, but I played queen f6. That was just very stupid. I mean, I didn't even see this bishop g5 move. Fantastic. But bishop h5, fortunately. Bishop f6, bishop g4. That was okay. If bishop g7, then I take on h3 with the rook. So I'm still okay. I mean, material is equal. Hg4, gf6. Yeah, here it was necessary for white to play king g2, I believe. And white should be better because white has better pawn structure. I have this weakness on f6. It's a long-term weakness. So white can play f3 if g4 is under attack. And what's important, white is ready to play rook h1, fighting for the h file. So at very least, white is okay, but I do believe white is slightly better here. Again, maybe I'm blundering something. For example, knight d4 attack in c2, then quickly knight e2 followed by knight f4 may be very annoying. But I think after knight d4, instead of playing something protecting c2, it's possible just to start with rook h1. This is a very important inclusion. So fighting for the h file. But again, here I have something like this. You know, tempo move, c2 is still hanging, so not so clear, not so clear. But it was anyway much better for white than, you know, to lose the g4 immediately. Because when you lose g4 and I start this attack with all my pieces, well, it's clear that you have no chances anymore. All right. Now let's get back to, oh, not that fast. To the normal order of challenges. Here is first challenger, Mirko. Let's play. White pieces, I hope. It's my only chance this time to play with white. So, with black, it was, well, very close to a disaster. Could have been an easy loss if there is no bishop h5, let's say. Amazing. Okay, let's forget about that game and focus on this one. Exchanged variation of Caro-Kann, which resembles what? Carlsbad pawn structure in many cases, reversed. Black decided to play this super active e5. Is it really good? I don't know. Let's see. So first thing I can notice here is an isolated pawn on d5. Second, I can play bishop b5 check, but then knight simply goes back to c6, I believe, and not a big deal. Queen e2, forcing the queen to e7 first, then bishop b5 check is also interesting. I'm going to try exactly this. Pinning the knight, creating sort of just f4, bishop f4, so I guess queen e7 is just forced. Then bishop b5, and we will exchange queens quickly, which is good because when you have an isolated pawn, you want to get some active play in the middle game, usually. Endgame is something you usually avoid when you have an isolated pawn, because in the endgame, first of all, it's harder to protect such a pawn. Second of all, it's a weakness, so you need a compensation, right? And this compensation is normally an attack, or at least very active play, using the queen most of times. So here I think I have a very simple plan of just attacking d5 gradually. Let's go bishop g5. Saying that, okay, I'm ready to take that knight, especially if it leads to damage to pawn structure. If knight jumps to e4, well, I will get back to e3 to blockade d4. To blockade d5, I mean occupying d4. And what's the point? Now I can play rook d1 with the tempo, attacking this d5. Okay. So now let's play knight to d2. Also tempo move. And the one which simplifies the position. Once again, it's a typical thing. So when you play against isolated pawns, simplification is something you want to come up with at some point. Knight g5 is another idea. Just to exert some pressure on e6. Maybe even capturing it and playing bishop g4. Complete centralization. Well, it's also something we can do here. Just rook d1. Okay, after this move, I think a7 is heading. Don't know. Let's put the knight on d4. I didn't want to do this on the previous move because of knight e5 and then knight goes to c4, let's say. Not very pleasant thing, but since knight went away, I guess knight e4 should be just the most natural decision here. Bishop c5. Okay. I can see a possibility to improve my bishop. It's placed logically, I believe, just exerting pressure on d5. Cobra says c4 was interesting. Yeah, at some point, bishop on d6 was hanging. I agree. Also considered it briefly, but then decided just, to play this simple chess. Because anyway, my position is quite pleasant here. Black has no active counterplay. At least I don't see it. So knight takes e6, f e6, bishop g4, the first thing that came to my mind, but then Then what? Rook c6. Then what? Rook to e1. That goes to f5. Maybe rook e2 is better. That goes to f5. She takes rook e8, king f7. Not so clear. But there is a possibility to attack both pawns from e5, I think. So let's try it. So e6 is weak. Now there is no isolated on d5 anymore, but this one on e6 is also pretty annoying for black, I believe. So that's what I wanted to try. Just attacking e6 now, focusing on that weakness instead of anything else. Oh, this is a big blunder, a huge one. Bishop e6 check, takes d7, and it's lost for black already. Yeah, obviously rook to c6 was a move. Rook to d6 maybe also was a possibility. Now it's just absolutely lost. So extra exchange and 2 more pawns. Come on. Should be enough. Yeah. I'm not sure that e5 is a good move, so usually it's better just to stick to main line, which is knight f6, bishop g4, e6, or something like queen to c7 there, because after e5 you create an isolated pawn. I mean, it should be lost or something, but it's already sort of slight advantage for white, and normally white doesn't have an advantage in this line. So, I mean, it's much more pleasant now to play it with white, because white has a clear plan while black, well, is passively protecting. Yeah. Of course, if you play absolutely correct moves here with black, you should be fine. So it shouldn't be bad. But once you start doing little mistakes, well, your position gets worse and worse, and white has no risk at all. That's my opinion. Okay, let's go further. But first, let's have a look at the critical moment when black actually blundered. So I think it was still playable after rook e2, just play rook d6, or maybe rook c6, or maybe both, I don't know. If I play both, I think I'll have bishop f4 then. You know, rook c6 looks like something that is still holding. Rook to e1, let's say knight f5 is possible. No, it's not very pleasant, but it's playable. It's okay. Still fine. All right. Let's go further. Super Bohemio is next. Accept the challenge. Playing with white. Usually I play with black against Super Bohemio, and it's quite annoying. Maybe it's the same when I play with white. I mean, Super Bohemio plays good. So I have to be very, very focused here. Okay, French defense. I don't remember what kind of lines Super Bohemio plays here. Maybe a6, maybe queen a5, maybe just bishop e7, yeah. So here, I have to take on c5 first, before castling, because if you castle, you have this problems after c4, maybe decisive thing. Taking on c5 first is fine. Okay, queen a5, creating sort of bishop b4 or something. Let's just take this one. That's what I usually do anyway. I don't know theory here. I'm just playing. So, what to do now? Usually I play bishop d3 to know if it is good or bad. Maybe it's still a theory, by the way. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if it is. Can I play bishop h7? No, of course I cannot. Too early for that. Something like queen to f2 can be considered. Just a3, I guess, is a move. What else? Knight to d4, typical thing, just to occupy this very important point, blockading d5. Because if pawn d5 moves at some point, that bishop, French bishop, becomes much more active. And when you play a French defense with the active French bishop, this means your opponent, I mean, the one who played with white pieces, has done something wrong. Because it's basically the only drawback of French defense. Everything else is just fine in black's position, I believe. Okay, a6. Now, what to do now? Let's just play knight e2. I mean, I offer an exchange of queens because I believe this sort of endings is much better for white. Again, no risk. Just gradually improve your position. You have more space. That bishop remains quite bad, I believe, for a long time. But I don't know how to improve it here. By the way, my son has joined me in the room just because his mother just forgot about this sort of risks. Okay, so some noise in the background. Okay, it's fixed now. All right, getting back to thinking of the position. Okay, b4, knight to a4. That's the point. Rook to c1 followed by another rook to c2 doesn't give me anything. d3 is still hanging, so it's a bit annoying. What if I just play knight to b3 here? I know it looks a bit strange, but my point is to play this pawn structure with the knight against the bishop. It's the best thing white can achieve, I believe. Well, here it's done at cost of, you know, damaging own pawns, but still, I believe this knight on d4 against that bishop is something that looks very pleasant. All right, rook to e1, typical thing. Maybe taking on f6 was also possible. The idea is to control e5, obviously. Can we play f5 now? F takes e5. Then f takes e6, bishop e6, check. Yeah, we can do this. Let's try it. Looks pretty cool. So f takes e6, if I'm not mistaken. Looks quite good. So now check. If king goes somewhere except for e file, I just take the bishop. And after this, I take on e5. And it looks winning because bishop is pinned, it is attacked. The knight is dominating. Rook c6 is now possible. Rook d6, just knight to f5. Or rook f2 to e2. Just a question of taste now. What's better? Got no idea. Both are winning, honestly. So if we play rook to e2, rook c8 goes to c6, I guess. Then what? I don't see a difference. So let's play knight f5. Now d4. And now rook f6. Still not completely winning, of course, but we are really close, I believe. Black is completely paralyzed here, so I can improve the position of my king first. Okay, black decided to exchange rooks, but this makes black's position simply hopeless. this pair of rooks. All right. So I believe after knight e2, black has to, first of all, avoid exchange of queens, because without queens here, well, there is no possibility to arrange the attack. First of all, black wanted probably to arrange the attack there. For that reason, maybe even taking on d3 is a bit premature. Maybe bishop d7 was better, just occupying the c file and so forth. Okay, but it's not a mistake. I believe after that, if black plays correctly, it should be equal position, more or less. Yeah, pretty much. So after bishop d7, knight b3, probably here, just to avoid exchange of knights, was a good idea. Just to play knight a4, let's say, or protect this knight with the pawn, because I don't want to take on c5 when there is a possibility to take with the pawn. But who knows? Maybe here it works well for white. Just, starting the attack against c5 now. Yeah, maybe it's not so simple, because my next move will be rook d2 to c2. But then my d3 is hanging, so again, it's not so clear. So let's say rook goes here, and if I attack this pawn, then bishop b5 is possible. It looks annoying. Yeah, black definitely has some counterplay here. So maybe b6, maybe just moving the knight away, just avoiding this particular material relation. Or maybe that was the best option, just to play d4 here, just in time. If I take something like bishop to e8 first, attacking my knight, and after my knight goes away, because I have to, something like bishop to c6. I believe this position is absolutely fine for black. Maybe it's even slightly better long term. Maybe. But still, I believe it's completely equal. The point is, you don't need this pawn at all. Now your bishop is great. With that pawn on the board, when I play knight e4, your bishop is very bad. A big difference, I believe. All right, let's go further. Olaf is there. If I'm not mistaken, last week I lost to Olaf. Maybe it was not last week. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I don't remember exactly. Let's try to play better this time. Sicilian. Good. Knight to c6. All right, give him a chance to play c4. Let's use this option. Prior to occupying c3 with the knight, I put my pawn on c4, which additionally controls d5 square, gives me more space in general. So it looks like a transposition to well-known line of accelerated dragon where white plays c4, in fact. So nothing wrong happened. I mean, black didn't make a mistake whatsoever. Knight to d7. I'm more used to the plan of bishop d7, knight takes d4, bishop c6, and then knight to d7, but it's maybe just the same. Maybe just the same. All right, let's just develop our pieces the normal way. Rook to c1 first. King to h1 also deserved attention, because normally I like to play on the king side, just to be a bit more aggressive there, to play f4 and so forth. Marotzebine can be played differently, like you put the pawn on f3, queen on d2, rook to d1, and just waiting for black's mistake. But I usually try to play f4, maybe f5, and start a direct attack there. Knight f8, that is something interesting, because I understand the idea. Knight e4, bishop d4, queen d4, then e5, and then knight e6 occupying d4. That is probably the point behind this knight f8 maneuver. So most likely it's better for me to avoid it and just to go away with the knight somewhere, let's say to b3. It's still possible to play knight e6, but it's no longer An automatic occupation of the d4. That's the point. a5, something typical. Alright, e4 is not hanging, so I can probably just blockade a5 with a knight this way. Also attacking b6 square. a5 is a weak in another position after all, so we should use it. But what's really good, I'm ready to play f4, f5 and so forth, so basically what I wanted to do. That f8 was really deep. It was a cool idea. Rook e8 and knight f8, yeah, very nice. Okay, now let's go for it. f4. Because I was about to play f4 immediately after knight f8. But then black's idea works best. So knight e4, bishop d4, queen d4, e7, e5 first, grabbing d4, then knight e6, knight e4. Well, yeah, I like it. Okay. e5, d takes e5, bishop f3, bishop goes to b7. What's this? Is it something? There is also a possibility to play e5 and if d5, knight b6, queen takes queen, then bishop takes b6, but I don't think I achieve much in that line, so let's just go there. I know I weaken e5, but anyway, I wanted to start this sort of attack. Isn't this blunder? So f takes g6. H takes g6, rook takes f7, king f7, queen d5, e6, rook f1 and queen c6. No, exchange down and my pieces are misplaced. Immediate queen d5 doesn't give me anything because of knight to e5. Okay, so black is controlling the things here for now. Should I try just knight e4 back? Knight e4, bishop d4, because it's a different situation now. So yeah, I understand after this massive exchange on d4 and then knight to e5, black's position looks just strategically winning, but I will have some rook lifts to attack h7 and the king will be quite vulnerable there, I believe. That's why I decided to give it a try. Now fg6 is premature. fg6, hg6, then e6 is weak. But rook f7, king f7 is again nothing. Then knight to e6, but queen has c8 square. I don't achieve anything there, unfortunately. But anyway, somehow it looks tempting. Yeah, just look at this. Rook f7, king f7, knight to e6. Would be very nice. Would be winning with the bishop on c8 if king e6, queen d5 check and then checkmate. Just like in Fischer-Reshevsky, very similar motive, but it doesn't work here, I guess. Or does it? What if rook f7, king f7, knight e6, queen to c8, and then queen to d5, creating a threat of what? Of double check. Isn't it decisive? Well, I have no idea. I'm in so bad shape, so I'm tempted to try. Oh, obviously it's a blunder. Obviously it's a blunder. Just because black has very simple response. Oh my god, I'm so bad. Oh yeah, bishop takes d4, just a simple intermediate move. Can you imagine I'm blundering these simple things? So painful. Could have been very nice game, by the way. Could have been a masterpiece. Now I'm just down the rook, right? I'm just down the rook, yeah. Or down a piece, well, which is also very bad. My goodness, it's amazing. I mean, how one can play it so badly. It couldn't be more stupid, I mean. Than just to take on f7. Shit. Okay. My God. Hoping for a miracle. There is no miracle though. Queen h6 is my only threat here. My only hope. There is obviously nothing there. Just down the rook. No compensation. Nothing. One on time, right? Not very fair, I understand. But it was so, pity to lose because of bishop takes d4. I was trying my best, at least to pretend I was creating some threats. I'm sorry for that, guys. That was not very cool. That was not cool at all. I mean, to take on f7 like a patzer and then just, to play down the rook and so forth. Yeah. So most likely white doesn't have anything in this position. Anything right now, at least. The normal move would have been just knight to b5. That is what I wanted to play, in fact. Soon after, I realized there is nothing after rook f7, but then I noticed some lines after rook f7, king f7, completely forgot to check other moves except for king f7. That was just a stupid blunder. Sorry for that. Okay, knight b5. I still believe black is fine after something like knight to e5 here. Everything is protected, first of all. e4 is under pressure. And this is a balanced position, I guess. No one is better, no one is worse. Just a balanced position. At least feels like that. So probably I had something more interesting somewhere here. Maybe f5 was a mistake. Maybe f5 is a mistake. Too early. I was not ready for anything anyway. Queen to d5 is nothing because of bishop b7. So I don't know how to improve this position. Maybe just knight e4 immediately here. So knight e4, bishop d4 is more or less fine. For white, it's okay for both sides, but again, I don't see anything specific here. So yeah, just a normal position. Bishop f3 maybe, intended e5, who knows? Maybe thinking of h4, h5 at the right moment. Don't know. So good game. Only time trouble helped me, to win this game technically. Like, the result is 1-0, but well, I deserved a loss for sure. Okay, who's back? Who's back there? Philomato is back. Alright. Let's play then. Let's have a look at that challenge. Where is Philomato's challenge though? I don't see it. Yeah, here it is. Accept. White pieces. Oh, let's try something different. Bishop to c4. Never played this move. Never ever. Neither in a tournament game nor in a blitz game. Something completely new to me. Well, I've seen this position from Black's perspective, of course, several times. So right now my idea is simple. I want to play knight d5. Like damaging or trying to damage the pawn structure there on the king side. It's an interesting question. Should I just go back to e3 now? The idea being to use this slight weakening a bit later just to castle on and to play g4, g5. Is it something or it's nothing? Or it's better just to play bishop h4 here. I have no idea. Let's play this. So everybody says good game, Olaf, on chat. That's right. It was a good game for Olaf, which is a disastrous game for me. But it's cool, you know, Olaf is becoming very, very strong opponent. It's very cool. The more the better in this case. The stronger you play, guys, the better episode we have, right? So, what's this? Most likely I have nothing in this position. But I'm still thinking of this sort of attack, like g4, knight g3, knight f5, something like this. Maybe I will even try to keep my king in the center here, who knows. Let me win says bad game, Andrey. Correct. But look at this one. Two pairs of doubled pawns already. Maybe this one will be even worse than the previous. We will see. Knight g3 at least protecting e4. My king is still on e1. Center is stable now. The d file is open, but I don't believe black will have a chance to achieve anything significant along the d file. I control all the squares, all important squares. d3, that was important to control because there is a fork potentially. Nice that I've noticed that. Do you remember I've blundered bishop g5 several games ago? So it's important to notice this d3 square 100%. Okay, now I wanted to play b4 and then knight f5, but isn't it too much for such a position? Don't know. Let's try it. And now knight f5. With the idea of taking on h6. Right now I start thinking of castling short. By the way, it shouldn't be that bad. Now I can take on h6, but then king goes to h7, and then what? Then h4 may be annoying for black. I don't know. Let's just take. First of all. There is a comment, but you also speak when you play. That is okay when you miss on something. True, but normally I don't miss so simple things. That's the problem. Normally I miss something much more complicated. Not like, you know, intermediate capture on d4. That was really simple to consider at least. All right, now h4 immediately looks interesting. As well as after queen f5. I don't know which one is better. I guess immediately. Forcing the knight kind of to take on e4. Yeah, now we take first. Then queen f5 check. I think it's too much for black to take on h6 right now. So I guess, yeah, king should go away first. Now let's capture an e4. And I think we achieved a lot. In fact, after all these crazy opening experiments, this position looks pretty cool. The pawn structure is better. I can castle now if I want. But I don't know the reason, but I want to play g5 now. But then where am I going to castle? Hard to say. Okay, let's castle first. I still believe this way is better. So here I wanted just to play this. Don't want to open files against my king. I mean, at least a file. C file is more or less okay. And the question is, how do we get there to the king? Wow, rook to c8. It's too deep, I think. Because now after b6, position remains closed there. All right, now something like g5 looks good. Now let's play g5. Rook c8 was a mistake. cb5 was a move. I do believe that was the right direction. Now position is quite open. Let's bring the rook to d7 first. Queen f5. Okay, let's take. Pawn b6 is too dangerous, isn't it? Too dangerous to ignore it. Like, I don't know. Let's put the rook on d1 first. Rook c8, yeah, Cobra is right. Rook c8 was a mistake, for sure. cb5 was a move there. Maybe instead of h4 I could have played queen f5 check immediately. I don't know if it was... Yeah, it was a big difference because yeah, we'll look at this moment a bit later. First of all, we have to finish this guy. First of all, I wanted to play this, just to have rook c6. And also preparing b7, rook c8. Should be lost for black, but I still have to win. On the other hand, I believe it's not a big problem here. Alright, so check first. Then takes here and b7. It's over now. It's over now. Yeah. So, I have a feeling that h4 was not accurate. Let's have a look. Knight h6, king goes to h7. So since the king cannot really go to h6, I guess maybe it was much better for me just to play queen f5 immediately here, right? So queen f5 check. I mean, I'm attacking the knight on g5 here. If king, just like in the game, goes to h8, I just take the knight on g5 and it's just lost, isn't it? Well, it's a much better version. Like, I take here, knight goes to h7, probably the only sensible move. In which case, I just go here. G takes h6 is forced now. Queen takes h6. Yeah, it's a much better version if compared to the game. So my position is much safer here on the queen side, and I think I'm just having extra material. All right. Yeah, this looks nice. If king takes on h6, then I play h4, and this looks decisive. At very first glance, there is h takes g5 checkmate threat. So knight has to go away from g5 somehow right now. Where? Don't know. Let's say e6. In which case we play g5. Yeah, it's over. So king h5, just g takes f6. That's it. Good game. Yeah, queen f5 was much better. In which case king has to go to h8. And so forth. Maybe it was much better for black to try king h8 immediately. Now giving me this queen f5 check resource. So what to do in this case? Knight e4 is kind of threat. Pretty annoying one. Pretty annoying. Okay, here I have... No, I don't have queen h4 because of knight f3. Thank you. Oh god, what is going on, huh? I'm trying to blunder everything this night. I'm just trying to blunder everything. Yeah, probably king h8 was interesting resource. Doesn't feel like a clear position to me. So if knight f5, knight e4, knight e4, knight e4, queen h4, king just back to j8, and then knight e7, that's the thing. Yeah. Nice line, by the way. So takes. Looks like black is fine, but not really. Knight goes to e7 here. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So knight to f5 back and then pawn up. There is a threat of queen h4. Yeah, what is having the advantage? Okay. Yeah, interesting position. Thank you for the game. Who's next? First, Bertus Maximus with 3 minutes. Oh my god, I will lose on time, I think. d4, knight f6. We have to play faster this time. So 3 minutes. Let's put the bishop on b4 first. It's a hybrid. I mean, Nimto and Queen Zindan. Bishop e2 is a bit passive. Bishop d3 is normally a bit better place for it, for that guy. Okay, completing development and starting play in the center at some point. Maybe right now. Maybe after a5. I mean, want to provoke white, yeah, to play that. To have a4. Fixing the pawn on b2 and having this b3 as a potential place for my knight, maybe. Don't know. After this, pawn structure is not ideal on the queen side. So I should be happy with the results of the opening. So rook a7 followed by queen a8, starting the attack along the a file, sort of attack, of course. Now something in the center. Just if d5, then c5 is very weak. Very, very weak. All right. So I think strategically, black is better. Positionally, black is better, I mean. There was something wrong with white's strategy here. So some weaknesses like this one on c4, b3 is weak, square a3 is a weakness, obviously. So this bishop failed to become active, And this bishop, I mean bishop c3 doesn't have a counterpart. My pawns are in dark squares, so they make this bishop pretty bad. Pretty passive to start with. Alright. Now activating the queen, controlling d3 square, and preparing the rook to a8. Will be much more logical to have two rooks on that file. Knight f3, does it blunder something? No, I don't think so. So let's just continue according to the plan. Oh, bishop b3 was possible. My god, I missed that possibility. No surprises, I'm just blundering this time. This episode is full of stupid blunders, so bishop b3 was a possibility. Stupid blunders from me, of course. So knight f3, yeah, was also a blunder, given the chance to play bishop b3, but I was stupid not to notice that. Okay, now I think I can try queen h5, and after knight goes to f3, I can go to b3. But I don't like how my queen is placed there. It's quite, you know, ugly. Bishop e2 can trap it, so let's just go back to d7. And now with just comfort, bishop to b3, winning the exchange. Takes. All right. Let's put the knight on e4. Oh, sorry, knight to a4. Fortunately, I didn't blunder this possibility. Just winning the bishop. So it's not an exchange, it's extra rook. Actually. Bertus says, thanks for the game. Thank you too. So some blunders, some positional mistakes. For example, there's b4, which is unnecessary, absolutely. So it's much better for you to keep this pawn structure as it is at the moment, not even playing d5 or anything. And gradually prepare the maneuver of the knight to c3. For that reason, I don't think that rook to e1 was the best choice. For example, here I would have played rook f to d1 maybe. Maybe I would have played a3 exactly here before I played a5, in which case, if I play a5, you can play b4, and you're fine. You can play b3 at any moment. You have pair of bishops, more space for now, so very solid situation in the center. So you should be fine here. But even after a4, it's not a catastrophe whatsoever. Still absolutely playable position. Now you have to prepare some play in the center. So I would have played knight d2. Basically controlling e4, trying to play bishop d3 next move. At some point this maneuver, knight b1, knight to c3, attacking my a4. But not giving me this simple play against your weaknesses. And if I play e5, for example, then d5 would be probably not the best choice. So just waiting until I take on d4 myself. Maybe bishop d3 here. So it's all right. Just a normal position. Okay. Next one is, what's going on here? Yeah, Feliz. Accept. White pieces. Thanks God. Playing badly with black this time. Oh, okay. Against Olaf, I've been playing with white as well, so it doesn't depend on the color. Okay, understand. It's just me this time. Playing equally bad with both colors. Please, one aggressive game. What do you mean? The previous one was quite aggressive. I mean, I didn't sacrifice anything, but I was quite active. And, you know, it's not my style to play aggressive chess right from the start. I'm just, you know, doing everything to make it possible. And then when position requires, I start playing aggressively. And another reason not to play like that, at least this time, I'm just blundering in each and every game, so it's not very good from a practical point of view to force the crisis right from the beginning of the game. Okay, e5 is logical, though quite risky, I believe. Attacking game. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Aggressive attacking, it's clear, but as I said before, I'm not attacking right from the start. I'm attacking only in a position that actually wants the attack to happen. So it's not a mistake. Basically, e5 is probably not the best option. It's also playable though. Maybe d3 was not the right reaction. Knight to b5 followed by d4 was correct, most likely. I don't remember this theory here, but it's a theory for sure. Queen e2, castling, lawn, or just d4 right now. Oh, let's play d4 right now. What is your favorite opening? Another question. Relopes for both sides. 100%. Really cool thing. You never know if you're right or wrong. Strategically, I mean, it's really complicated. Now we have an endgame, but it's not a deep endgame, so we have just exchanged one pair of minor pieces and queens. So we still have some attacking possibilities, by the way. We still can attack. No, not really. Yeah, it's just a boring endgame. Okay. Aggressive games equals crazy sacrifices. Yeah, maybe one day when I will be in much better shape. Maybe I will just play, these crazy games exclusively. But not today. Today I'm just not prepared for that. There was a crazy sacrifice, rook f7, but that was so stupid. It was absolutely incorrect. So it's much better just to grab a pawn and then convert it, right? No risk. And the result, which is pleasant. Okay, so what to do now? I wanted to play f5 first. Just attacking the bishop. And then moving my bishop back to occupy e5 or f4. You know which square is better for that guy. Let's put it on e3, intended bishop f4 check. Yeah, like this. So bishop d6 loses immediately because of bishop d6, bishop e2 check, bishop takes g4. If king goes to c8, there is knight a4 possibility, although not very clear. Now king is on b6. We can still play knight to a4. Is there a checkmate? So knight to a4. Well, even if there is no checkmate, it's still a good move, I think. So knight a4, check. King goes to a5. I mean, after bishop c7 there, that's what I was trying to make work, but okay. It's not so important. If it is a checkmate or I don't know. So bishop to c7 first. It doesn't quite work. What I wanted to do is just to play bishop e2, attacking the bishop and the knight, but then bishop takes f5, so probably we should forget about this tactical bullshit and focus on, you know, normal things in this position. Or maybe, I don't know. Oh, immediately, I didn't notice that. Another stupid blunder, okay. Another stupid blunder, I didn't see that move. Whoa. What's going on? Fortunately, there is no check on d8. Well, at least I will just capture it. And this is what you probably wanted to see, a checkmate. Aggressive, but stupid. I mean, stupid was not to calculate everything before playing knight to c5. Oh my goodness, bishop e2 was a move here, but then again, this bishop takes f5 or something. Yeah, g4 was a move, rook e1 was a move. There were, you know, lots of interesting moves. g4 was probably the right one, just to protect f5 and to keep that bishop passive. Yeah, but first of all, it was necessary to deal with that knight immediately here. Just, you know, just play h3 here. Why not? Who forces you actually to play this knight a4? I mean, the point is very simple. If knight goes to f2, there is just check. And if bishop to c5, then knight to a4, winning the game instantly. So knight f2 doesn't work. Knight doesn't have this e5 square, just like in the game. And has hence to go back to f6. And if you want, you can play knight a4 here, right? It's the same, but the knight is no longer active. My god, it's so simple, right? Even simple g4 is pretty pleasant here. So extra pawn, look at this bishop on d7, which is completely passive, and so forth. Yeah, okay. So looking back at the game, queen b6 was much better than queen c7, threatening e3 and b4. And you were right, Andrey, of taking on b5 with the pawn instead of rook c8. Taking on b5 with the pawn instead of... Oh, okay. I remembered that game. So queen b6 instead of queen c7. I don't remember. Before, knight went to e6. I played knight to probably even earlier than that, right? Probably even earlier. Well, I don't remember position exactly, but maybe you're right. But cb5 was 100% much better than playing a rook to c8, because then b6 and you saw what happened. So one-sided position. All right. So the last game. Because it's really no longer that pleasant. Blundering in each and every game. My goodness, what's that? It's very bad shape. No, I have some excuses, obviously, but anyway. Okay, one more. In this line with knight c3 and knight f3. It's getting very popular, as we can see. So almost everybody, well, at least somebody plays it each and every week against me, which is nice. No, it's really complicated setup, and black has to be really careful here. I'm curious, what if I just play knight c6 now? It looks a bit strange, but d4 is hanging. I'm just curious how white is going to protect it. I can take on d4 now. Can I? Let's try it. Looks very tempting, so most likely. Oh, I expected knight e4 then trying to trap my bishop, but well, here I have very good position now. So no risk, just extra material. Isn't it just extra material? Yes, it is. Let's take, why not? Back to b7. So just extra pawn, right? No compensation. I don't see compensation here. At least there is no complete compensation, so. Does a person need to know many openings to go over 2000? Do you mean do you mean the online rating or the normal classic FIDE rating or local rating? I mean tournament rating. For Blitz, you don't need to learn openings at all, I guess, to get over 2000. Of course, you need to play like decent in a very decent way in general, but you don't necessarily need to know a lot of openings or something. Oh, FIDE rating, yeah, I guess so, but not many, just several openings that you usually play, right? You have to know your openings, at least some plans, some typical things that happen there. But first and foremost, yeah, you have to play good. If you don't know concrete lines, for example, but you play good, you will have a chance to understand what to do over the board, just to find good moves. Even in the opening, you don't know. But it's better to, to be aware of some lines. So that you start thinking a bit later, not like at the very beginning. It's really annoying. Okay, I can play knight d5 now, so I think it was a serious mistake to give me this point. Then I can take on c5, take on e3, take on c5, simplifying the things, having 2 extra pawns. I think it's just okay. It's just good enough. So dc5, knight takes bishop. Then queen takes c5. And 2 extra pawns, right? 2 extra pawns. Simple. Yeah, these pawns are not very cool, I know, on the queen side. But they are extra ones. So I'm fine with that. Nice line. Rook d8, rook d8, rook d1, rook takes d1, king takes d1, g4. Game over. King to c2 was played, okay. Rook takes d1 is possible. Rook takes d1, then g4. Is it a good idea for me? I think it's too early for that. I can just take on d1 and then play rook to d8, right? Just simplifying the things. Why should I search for anything else when we can simply exchange the pieces and convert to extra pawns? It will be easier to convert extra material with fewer pieces on the board. So simple thing to understand. Okay, rook goes away, which means I have d-file for my rook. So let's put it on d4 first. Now b4 is kind of threat, so let's prevent it. Then centralizing the king, bringing it to d6, controlling everything here, and then starting pushing my pawns in the center. So f5, e5, then probably e4, we'll see. So probably f5 immediately here. Funny thing, if f4, then g4 traps the bishop. Rook to e1, king to, well, f3 is hanging, but I think e6 is very important to lose it. So let's just put the king on d7 first, protecting it. f3 is hanging now. King d6, that is what I want to play next move. Just bringing the king closer. Now, what's the idea behind bishop f1? To put it on c4 probably. So let's put our bishop on d5 to prevent it. Don't want to give my opponent any chance to activate his pieces. To make it more and more annoying to protect this position. Alright, bishop b5 doesn't create any serious threat, so h5, h4 maybe is the next maneuver. Yep. So if bishop doesn't go back to a4, I can consider playing rook d1, rook h1 even. Maybe it's even better to start with h3 here. Yeah, I like this idea to fix the weakness on h2. Bishop doesn't have the access to that pawn. Now, of course, g takes f4 is possible, but I like the idea of playing g4. And now the plan is rook to d1, then rook to h1. But my opponent somehow prevented it. Just because I blundered again, something. Fantastic. I should start over? No, I shouldn't. So, fortunately, again, I have this bishop e4, rook to d3. Very strong idea. Very annoying. So anyway, at some point I will get to this h2 weakness, right? That was the whole idea behind fixing it with the h3. So this is kind of, you know, potential passer, which is very close to promotion square. All right. So what was wrong? Well, basically there was a blunder at the very beginning of the game when I captured on d4, and the rest was just a conversion. All right, guys. Thank you very much for being with me. Hopefully, from a technical point of view, everything was fine on your end. By the way, Training Tuesday was rescheduled this week, so there will be a show tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central European time. So if you want to join, I will be happy, but it's only possible if you are a premium user. All right. So see you premium users tomorrow, and everybody else and premium users again next week with, you know, next portion of Training Tuesday and Banter Blitz. I hope you learned something new from this episode. If you did, I guess, well, I did a good portion of work, although I was blundering a lot, but well, anyway, my personal performance is not that important to me. What's important is that you learn something new, and you go away feeling much better compared to the very first minute of the show. Wish you all the best, and see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.